There are certain things that you must never say during an interview. This is what I call one blow, seven die. Once you say it, the recruiter knows that it is gone, like you're gone. If you stick around to the very end of this video, I'm going to list 10 things that you must never say during an interview. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. There's so much story today, but if you are interested in things related to job search, job interview, live your dream, personal development, just stick around, subscribe please. All right, so I'm diving right into the business. Yeah, you're welcome. So the first thing is asking the recruiter, tell me more about your company. This is like a no, like you should never do this, don't do this. And if there is any reason why you must even ask about the company, that means you must have probably said a lot of good things about the company, such as I've read a lot about your company online. I realized that your company is one of the leading innovative companies in the world, and I also read that you've actually produced a number of devices that makes transaction easy for these customers. Blah, blah, blah. You just have to wet the ground before now saying, okay, is there any other thing I'm missing? Or is there any other thing you'd like to tell me more about your company? Okay, okay, you can say that. But just asking the recruiter, tell me more about your company. No, it just shows that you're not doing your research. It shows that you're not prepared. It shows that, okay, so you're giving the recruiter the impression that you don't even know where you want to work. Like, seriously? Instead of saying this, please scratch it out. Okay, so the next thing you must never say is asking the recruiter, so how is the promotion like in your company? You are not supposed to ask about promotion. Let's like just chill, get there first before you ask about promotion, because this gives the recruiter a wrong impression about you, and it only shows that you probably, maybe that role is not even what you really aspiring for. You aiming for promotion, it might not even be like promotion. And the next thing I'll be talking about is speaking negatively about your former company, so or about your former works. For people that this is not their first job, like you've worked in some places before, and the recruiter get to ask you, so tell me, why did you leave your former place of work? Under those circumstances, even if you're coming from a very toxic environment, a bad boss, a, I don't know what to call it. On no condition should you say this during an interview, because that is not what the recruiter is aspiring to hear from you. You could say things like for career advancement, you can say relocation purpose, change of environment, a lot of things that you can actually say. Of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel for more tips on what you can say. The next thing is saying that I do not have weakness. Like how? Of course you do have weakness, I'm sorry, but you have weakness. I have weakness. And if you want to know how to answer the question, or what is your greatest weakness, then check. Okay, it should be here. On no condition should you tell a recruiter during an interview process that you do not have a weakness. No. Something similar to it is telling the recruiter that I'm good at everything. Like, I'm not getting it. Jack of all trades, master of none. So tell the recruiter that you're good at everything. Rather, what you should just do is mention like one or two of your major strengths, like things, some things that you know that even in your sleep you can be very, very proficient in. Sell this, sell yourself, and win the game. The next one is using slangs during your interview. This is like a no-no. It's not something you should do even in an official setting, not to talk of in an interview. Don't use slangs. Nothing like bros alpha. Something similar to slang is using boss. Like, all right, boss. Okay, boss. During an interview, it doesn't suit well. Use the correct language. Use the correct terminology during and even after the interview. Think. And this particular one, after the interview, that will be all for today's interview. Do you have any questions for me? And then you're like, you're trying to be humble, and you're like, no, thank you so much for this opportunity. I do not have any question at the moment. You must have question, like you must have question, because it's Asking questions makes them know that you are engaging, you are interacting, you are interesting, you are not dull, you are smart, you know what you're doing. Like the list is long. So it is very, very important that you ask questions during an interview. And of course, check here again for the likely questions. I give examples of questions that you can actually ask during an interview. Please check and make sure you ask at least one question after an interview. I remember there was an interview I went for, like it's been a while now, and after all the interrogation and all of that, and the interviewer was like, okay, do you have any question for me? I'm like, yeah, sure, I have questions. I have questions for you. Do you think you want to interrogate me and just leave? You think it's easy to answer all of your questions? I fired on, asked him questions, this, that. I was like, oh, you're very interested. I'm like, yeah, thank you. Okay, that's just on a lighter note, but you get the point. One thing you must never do is saying that you're not good at working in teams. Don't say it. Even if it is your weakness, look for another weakness and say, thank you. So another thing is sounding very desperate, saying things like, I really need this job. It gives the recruiter a wrong impression about you. Instead of saying, I need the job, using your skills, say it using your experience, say it using your qualification, say it using other things, say it using other things. We all know that you need the job, and that is why you are here for the interview. So you don't have to say it again. So this one I'm going to say, I fell into this trap, and of course, Brother Bernard. I knew I was hitting the point. I'm good for the role. Like I'm prepared. I know what to say, and all of that. Until this very point, and the recruiter asked, "Do you have experience working in this particular role?" And I said, "I really do not have experience." It was this moment I knew. I've actually said this before. I knew, oh, I wasn't supposed to say that. Don't tell a recruiter that you do not have experience in a particular role. There are some transferable skills that you've acquired in probably your former experience or your former activity or voluntary work that you can apply to this role. So instead of just saying, I do not have experience, say things that you've done that is related to this job that you believe you can actually transfer into the skill. The last thing I like to talk about is, do not say I do not like to work under pressure. Okay, so this particular one, I know I've told myself several times that on no condition will I ever put ability to work under pressure. I know you might be smiling because you probably have that kind of resolution to yourself, but during an interview, you don't say it. Just avoid it. You don't have to say it. If it is not necessary, if it is not needed, you do not have to say you cannot work under pressure. A typical job, there will be days that there will be pressure. There will be days that things will move smoothly. There will be days that things will not really go at its also, and you will need to be at your best. So telling a recruiter that you do not like to work under pressure, don't do that. I hope you have learned one or two. As usual, I hope you've learned things that you should avoid saying during an interview. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you watch this very end, that means this content is very useful for you. And don't deny that. Don't forget to click on the like button. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button as well. Share with friends, share with family. I'll see you again next time in my next video. Stay tuned.